The following is brought to you by Bleacher Report. If you guys want to check out my live post-game reaction show, make sure to have the Bleacher Report app downloaded and ready to fire up right after the game. You'll find me in the Chargers section. Bolt up.
Bleacher Report. You guys had me come on after a 63-21 game. Expect me not to go crazy? We're on watch right now, man. We're on watch. Even as we speak, I'm hoping to see the glorious notification that the Chargers have moved on from Brandon Staley. So far, we haven't seen anything. And a lot of you guys will say, well, director, that's probably wishful thinking. You know, maybe it is. But funny enough, when I was watching the broadcast last night, something caught my eye, okay? And it was interesting to me because I was like, how often does this happen? I don't know. The Spanoses were at this game. I remember looking up at my screen, I'm like, oh, look, it's the Spanoses. The source of all my depression and anger. They're there. They're watching the game. Why? They're in Vegas for whatever reason. I don't know how often they travel with the Chargers. I can't recall seeing them very often. Maybe sometimes at home games. I don't recall seeing them too often. Maybe they just don't show them. I don't know. But I look up and I see their faces, and then I'm like, oh, wait. And this is at this point of the game. I think the Chargers were down just 21-0. 21-0. And I look up, and they do not look pleased. They look less than satisfied with the result that they're seeing on the field. Okay, I'm putting that lightly. They look ticked off, dude. They look ticked. I'm trying to keep it PG. They did not look happy at all. And what's funny is that just to the side of them was a Tom Telesco, the GM of the Chargers. The look on his face, I kid you not, it was like the paranoia, fear, anxiety. Something's up. Something's up. The Spanoses were at the stadium. The Spanoses looked really unhappy. Tom Telesco did not look steady. Brandon Staley, for the first time, and honestly, yeah, the score probably is justifies it enough. Very shaky in the post-game interview. He was even flat out asked, do you expect to be the Chargers head coach tomorrow? And he says, I don't know that. Man, I don't know. Man. He doesn't know. And I think a lot of it does point to maybe the Spanoses were there to evaluate possibly a game which resulted in a firing for their current head coach. And if there was any time and proof in the pudding that it was probably time to move on, it was probably a 63-21 score. In my opinion, they were probably thinking about it last week. Now that the Chargers are officially, I wouldn't say out of the postseason, but they had like a 1% chance. Now I'm pretty sure they're completely out. I don't know. I haven't even looked at the chances yet after this game. But it being a short week, I'm sure they were thinking, well, you know, we don't want to hand an interim 3 days to get ready for the Vegas game. We're going to go ahead and keep Staley one more week. But now we're at a point where the Chargers have, 10 days until our next game? It might be longer. I don't know. I think it's actually the 23rd, right? So we got a minute. We got a minute before the next game. Officially out of the postseason, put up a historically terrible game behind a defensive-minded head coach, the most points allowed in franchise history. We all got to keep our notifications on, man. I think the Brandon Staley story is quickly coming to an end. And if I were the owners, man, which we heard rumors that they were really ticked off yesterday. I saw with my eyeballs that they were ticked off. We heard rumors and quotes that they were ticked off and it was about to all end. I can't confirm any of that, but I'm sure as heck not going to question it. With what I saw, I would be upset too. We're just hoping it happens sooner than later so that the healing period can begin, man. We need to start looking forward. And the only reason I could even fathom that the Spanoses and the Chargers want to keep that relationship with Staley is to further better their stock in the draft. Are you guys saying it happened? Oh my God, are we live while it happened? Hang on. Hang on. Are you guys serious? Oh my God. Breaking news. The Chargers have fired head coach Brandon Staley and GM Tom Telesco. Oh, we got it. Oh my God. Oh. 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 Yes. 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 Oh. 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 You fought the good fight, Chargers fans. You fought the good fight. Let your pain and suffering end right here, man. Oh my God. I knew it. Yes. Yes. You guys heard it live right here. I knew it. I knew it coming into the stream. It was a big possibility, man. Let's go. This just in. Breaking news live on Bleacher Report. The Chargers have officially fired head coach Brandon Staley and GM Tom Telesco. Let the healing begin. Hallelujah. Thank you. Thank you. Let's get this team back on track. Hashtag Operation Rescue Justin Herbert is officially in motion, y'all. Let's go. We needed this so bad, dude. I'm sure my producers at Bleacher right now are like, okay, man, okay. Nah, man, this is, we've been waiting too long for this. I thought the man should have been gone after the Jags game last year. We stuck it out. We've seen some of the worst football I've ever seen as a Chargers fan. Now it is finally time to move on. I can't even believe it, man. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, and the chat's going wild, man. The Twitter's going wild. This is exactly what we needed to see, dude. Actually, I think we can actually show Twitter, right? Yeah, we can show Twitter. Or X now. Oh my God. We're going to go look at this live with you all, okay? Because this is pretty big. This is a big moment for the Chargers and its community, its fans. We needed this so badly. There was no vision of the future without this move, guys. There was no vision, no hope of the future without this move, dudes. Ian Rappaport. The Chargers are cleaning house after last night's disaster, firing coach Brandon Staley and longtime GM Tom Telesco. Sources say, you know what? The Tom Telesco era is actually, I would say, equally as significant as the Brandon Staley era coming to an end. The Chargers have been behind Brandon Staley, or I should say Tom Telesco, for what, a decade? 10 years. 10 years. Chargers fans. And you know what? We've seen our ups and downs. I'll give them that, okay? We've seen some good. We've seen some bad. We've seen something in between. Lately, though, the drafting has not been great. The dude's had, 3 or 4 head coaching hires that went in the toilet. Okay? Terrible. And this definitely the worst. The move off of Tom Telesco is massively significant to this fan base, man. Massively important to moving forward. And again, I love Tom Telesco and Brandon Staley. The people, they seem like solid human beings, all right? But as far as running this football team, their time is up. This is such a good move for the franchise, such a good move for the Chargers. And honestly, I got to say, guys, as somebody who sees a lot of Chargers fans week in and week out, almost every single day, last night even, in a 63-21 loss, we saw 2,000 people in the live chat yesterday. As someone who's got perspective on this, I'll tell you right now, this move is going to bring back a lot of Chargers fans. It really is. It really is. This move is going to bring back a lot of the fandom back into the fold with some optimism that maybe tomorrow will be better. Maybe 2024 will get back on track and we can finally move on with our lives past the Brandon Staley and Tom Telesco era. This is massive, guys. Breaking news. Wow. I'm so glad it happened while you guys were here, dude. I'm so glad I was live somewhere to share this with you guys. I'm looking at the chat right now, man. Let's go. Let's go. I see you guys in there, dude. I see Proc Birdie. I see Chargers Horse. I see Sanchez. Chargers fan. I see you guys in the chat, man. We're all celebrating right now. Chargers fans, take a collective sigh of relief. It's finally over. It's finally over. It's finally over. Hey, so we still got like 10, 15 minutes to cover on this slate, okay? And I'm trying to contain my excitement. I could just spit for the next 10 minutes on, oh my God, we finally got rid of Telesco and Brandon Staley, and it's time to move on. But we got to talk a little bit about the repercussions of this, okay? The football gods are great to director. I hopped onto the stream just saying, hey man, it's going to be 10, 15 minutes of straight anger from me in the disgrace of what we saw yesterday. And they hand us, well, again, I was thinking it was going to happen, such a big development in the Chargers, okay? The next step is going to be coming up quick here, guys. And I'm going to have you guys in the chat really get involved with this one because it's a pretty big decision that we're about to see. And please keep me updated. I'll be having X open on my phone on the side to see if there's any announcements in terms of the interim head coach. But here's a couple of things that are about to happen. Okay, my wife just walked in. She's so excited too. We're all so excited, man. Here's what's about to happen next, okay? The Chargers shortly are going to announce an interim head coach, of which we have a couple of different options here. I'm actually going to come back here onto the screen because this is really important, guys. What to expect now that Brandon Staley and Tom Telesco have been let go, okay? Step one, Chargers need to elevate a current coach up to interim head coach to lead the team for the last 3 games. And this is something that I've been desperately begging for, I don't know, since weeks ago, maybe 3, 4, 5 weeks ago. Let's get rid of Brandon Staley and kick the tires on some of these guys we've already got in the building. And I think the top 2 candidates for a lot of people are going to be offensive coordinator Kellen Moore, who was brought in with the idea of turning around this offense behind Justin Herbert. It didn't really develop. We lacked the run game to fully fulfill that vision for Kellen Moore. But this dude is the real deal, man. He's been getting head coach offers and interviews for a couple of years now. Teams trying to hire him off the Dallas Cowboys team for quite a while. Now a member of the Chargers. He's likely going to get offers after this season as well for a head coach position. I know Boise State was interested. I know the Carolina Panthers, there's rumors about them being interested. Kellen Moore, great candidate to be elevated to interim head coach. Okay? But the other guy that a lot of people are pushing right now, which definitely would not be a bad idea, is Ryan Ficken, the Chargers special teams coach, who has led this special teams from one of the worst performing units in Chargers history to one of the best. This is definitely the best unit on the team right now. Special teams has been killing it. Special teams has been one of those head turners that we've not seen in a long time. And if you guys are Chargers fans for more than, let's say, 5 years, you'll know that special teams, especially in some of our most successful seasons, were our downfall ultimately. And to see that unit turn around, massively impressive. So I think Ficken surely needs to be up for consideration in interim head coach as well. Yeah. And some of you, I'm seeing you guys in the comment right now. Some of you guys don't like Kellen Moore. I totally get it, but somebody's going to have to step up. Somebody's going to have to lead the team. And Kellen Moore, he's probably got more offers for the position of head coach than anybody else on the team right now. And honestly, what's the worst that could happen at this point? Huh? What happens if we kick the tires on Kellen Moore and, oh my gosh, this guy goes crazy, and we see a huge shift in culture, a huge shift in attitude, a huge shift in performance behind his leadership? Hey, man, we got to figure that out with the last three games of the season, not wasted. We got ourselves that maybe just even if he's a candidate now for the Chargers next season, now we know a little bit more about his leadership. And the same thing could be said about a Ryan Ficken, right? Maybe he's the same way. Who knows? And you know what? On the other side of the coin, maybe Kellen Moore sucks as a head coach. Maybe Ficken sucks at interim. Maybe both of those guys just can't cut it in that position. Hey, at least we're sure now, right? Let's move on to brighter pastures in 2024. Okay? So next thing after that, the Chargers positioned very high in the 2024 NFL draft. This is a pretty significant development considering the Chargers are going to be making a shift at GM, mind you, and the GM largely involved, should be mainly in charge of who the Chargers select year in and year out in the NFL draft. So we're about to see a shift in how the Chargers draft, which could be a very, very big deal, y'all. Okay, we talked, I think we even mentioned it on the Bleacher Report show not too long ago, that if the Chargers had drafted based on fan opinion the last 3 years, we would have ended up with Rashawn Slater, Trent McDuffie, and Zay Flowers. I think we would be putting ourselves in a better position to succeed with those theories, right? And I think that largely that follows the formula of best player available, which is something that I highly advocate for. The last 3 seasons, it felt like we drafted more towards need, which can work out sometimes, but most of the time, man, you're just going to be digging yourself a deeper and deeper hole. Quentin Johnston could still work out, but he's a project. We needed him now. And that, honestly, in my opinion, that pick was a failure, at least until we see Quentin continue to develop. And I think he'll be fine going into the future. I think he'll be a good, decent wide receiver too. But man, did we need him now. Best player available, in my opinion, at that point for the Chargers was Jordan Addison. I wanted Dalton Kincaid. Chargers fan community really wanted Zay Flowers. It is what it is. Trent McDuffie was my guy last year. he was available to us there. I thought he was the best pick. Maybe now we see a GM that follows the formula best player available. The Chargers, I feel, have always had a pretty decent scout team. I feel like maybe we do see a shift there, especially in a year where the Chargers are turning over the coach and GM. We now do have a pretty high pick. As of last night, the Chargers are positioned at pick number 5 in the NFL draft in 2023. And of course, that can shift if the Chargers win a game. Certainly, if we lose out, things could change, right? Or stay largely the same. I think the Chargers are going to be within 3 picks of 5. Whether it's 5, 4, or 6, or whatever, I think it's going to be somewhere in that range. And that is a pretty big tool for reshaping a team with a new head coach and a new GM. All right? And if you guys are wondering, hey, director, we're going to be posting up, all the games on Sunday. Who should I be looking for? Definitely root for teams like Washington, Chicago, both the New York teams, the Jets and the Giants, and the Tennessee Titans, to go out there and try and win their matchups, because that's just going to further strengthen the Chargers' position in the draft. Okay? If the Chargers can draft in the top 5, I tell you what, guys, we got some big options, including trading down. There's going to be quarterback-needy teams. Like always, we're going to see 2 or 3 guys that probably get drafted a little bit too high. We have the option to trade down, stock up on draft picks, and heck, some of my favorite guys out there are definitely going to be available to the Chargers at pick 5, including Brock Bowers, the next generational tight end, which could give the Chargers and Justin Herbert one of the most lethal weapons we've seen in the Herbert era. Okay, that pairing, I kid you not, could be on the level of Mahomes and Kelsey and Lamar and Mark Andrews. Justin Herbert to Brock Bowers, touchdown Chargers. That could be the next big thing for this team. Okay, but we're going to talk about that in just a minute. All right? So the Chargers, they need to elevate an interim head coach. We got to start positioning ourselves in the draft, which honestly, at this point, if you guys are wondering, if you thought a 63-21 score was bad, well, guess what? Buckle up, Bolt fam. We got the Buffalo Bills next week, followed by the Denver Broncos, which could be a winnable game. You have to wait and see what happens with the interim. And then Kansas City to close it out for the 2023 season. At very best, I think the Chargers go 6-11. I think very likely we're going to lose out, go 5-12. And push ourselves to a top 5 pick in the NFL draft in 2024. Okay, that's where I'm kind of think it's going to happen. And at that point, and top 5 picks again, that is such a massive, massive tool to reshape the team, because you're not just looking at a top 5 pick in the NFL draft, which is going to be big, man. You're going to get a dog in there. You're going to get somebody that's a huge difference maker now on this team. But it also means that you're positioned very well in the rounds to follow. And in a year where we desperately need it, that is a huge tool to reshape the roster for our new GM, whoever it might be. And don't even start to ask me who the GM is going to be. I have no idea. Okay, head coaches, sure, I can give you some names. GM, I have no clue. All right, they could bring in anybody. Bring in Matt Money Smith. That's the only guy I'm like, hey man, I kind of know this dude. He would be sick. He'd be sick as the Chargers GM. I don't know. Okay. And for those of you wondering, some of the guys that I would be excited for the Chargers to take, of course, you guys know my position on Brock Bowers. I was a huge Kincaid fan last season. Really hoped that would happen. Didn't happen. I think tight end is a big position that the Chargers need to hit this season. Not just in terms of giving another weapon to Justin Herbert, which he desperately needs, but in terms of the blocking too, man. Chargers need help everywhere. I think tight ends and running backs, they need help blocking desperately. The play there has just not been great. The other guys I really like, Malik Neighbors, of course, wide receiver, LSU. We may get lucky. Guys, this would be the craziest thing. I don't think it's going to happen. Marvin Harrison Jr. in the top 5 picks, he's going to go, right? He's going to get picked top 5. Can you imagine a world where the Chargers end up with Justin Herbert and Marvin Harrison Jr. next season? Lord have mercy. Kool-Aid McKinstry, definitely another guy I wouldn't mind taking in the top 5. I mean, I think that's a little high, but the Chargers need corner really, really bad. Best corner in the draft by far, in my opinion. And guys like Jared Verse at edge. We'll have a wide range of really quality players depending on where we're drafting in the top 10 at the very least. I'm guessing in the top 5, it's going to be a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr., Brock Bowers, Neighbors, et cetera, okay? But in the later rounds, the Chargers got some firepower this season. And honestly, with the new GM, we may see some moves to acquire even more draft capital, because the money situation sucks for the next guy coming in. Chargers $30 million over the cap. We're going to need to find some way to free up some money. And unfortunately, it could come in the form of a trade for a couple of big players on this team. All right. One guy who may have played his way up to a decent return value for the Chargers is going to be edge Khalil Mack, who's having a career season despite his age at 32. And we've seen teams pay up the nose for even older edge players. That's how highly coveted that position is. Von Miller got a massive contract with the Buffalo Bills despite his age. I think Khalil Mack fits comfortably in that category or in that tier of edge player. And the Chargers, with the money situation, we were already thinking that no matter how well Khalil Mack does, unfortunately, I think the money's going to force him out next season. Well, guess what? It went from maybe the Chargers have to just cut him to get the money back in the books, get over the cap, to maybe we can actually trade him for like a 3rd or 4th round pick. Like, not even kidding. At the age 33 or 32, like, the Chargers may actually get something back. And that's pretty significant. Again, considering the Chargers draft position, we're already going to have a pretty good, pick in whatever round that we get. Another one on top of that would be pretty huge. And who knows what else they do to further bolster their draft stock. But the new GM's going to have some work to do in those regards. Okay? It's going to get crazy in here. It's going to get crazy. So as we continue to further prepare ourselves for the draft and position ourselves for the draft and see what's going on with the interim, the Chargers are also going to be on the phone, I'm sure. I mean, there is a protocol here, so we're not going to likely know until a little further into the season or to the offseason or, when the new season begins. New head coach is on the way, y'all. We got a new head coach on the way, y'all. Oh, and it really depends here on what happens, man. A reason to celebrate or a reason to be a little, cautious going into the future. We don't know what's going to happen, man. We don't know what's going to happen. Chargers, with this eye-opening humiliation of 63-21, could have finally got the kick in the pants they need to go out there and get somebody qualified for this position that's been there, that's done that, that's maybe won, 6 Super Bowls, and a guy like Bill Belichick? Huh? Or maybe we do crap the bed and just go after another OC, DC, somebody unproven, and just, fire away another shot at hopefully picking up somebody that has the kahunas to turn into that coach that we need in the future. I'm guessing, guys, that we have our best shot in a long time to get somebody with pedigree. You know why? Because not only the humiliation that we suffered last night, but because history has already proven, very recent history, that teams are going to see a turnaround with a coach that knows what they're doing. And unfortunately for the Chargers, they had one knocking at their door last season in which they slammed the door and said, no, we like Brandon Staley. And his name was Sean Payton, who proceeded to kick our butts just last week and probably will do so again in 2 weeks. Sean Payton is the man that we could have had in the building, and we said no. And maybe that burn, that recent burn and trauma is enough for the Spanos to say, you know what, we got another guy knocking on the door. His name's Bill Belichick, 6-time Super Bowl winner. Guy's going to give us guaranteed at least a top half defense in the league, which would work wonders for Justin Herbert. That would be huge. We're not going to make that mistake again. Welcome to the team. Other side of the spectrum, hey, man, we got a guy knocking on our door. He loves Justin Herbert, offensive genius. Maybe he's a little tough to get along with, but we're finally ready to have some humility and give the team to somebody who knows what they're doing with it. Give us Jim Harbaugh. I know that Michigan wants to give him a big old fat contract. You know what? I think it's time that we get that kind of talent in our building, right? Now, both of those guys, who knows how likely that's going to be, right? We want Jim Harbaugh. In the end, we're probably going to end up with someone I've never heard of. But I have hope. I have hope this time that we maybe try and swing a little bit higher this year, because honestly, it has been too long. It has been too much. And I think the Tom Telesco firing speaks miles of what the potential could be of the future for the Chargers. This is huge, guys. This is massive. This is absolutely massive. So I guess stay tuned, man. I'm about to go, make more content on this because we have a lot more to even talk about now. I'm glad that we were live on Bleacher Report when the news broke, because we got a live reaction, which we rarely do in situations like this. But guys, Chargers fans, brighter days are coming. The future is being shaped. How much worse could it get, right? I think Brandon Staley showed us the rock bottom. It's time to pick ourselves up, pat ourselves down, and get to work, because this Los Angeles Chargers, more specifically Justin Herbert, will be back with the fury in 2024. And hopefully we got some big changes along the way that to further reinforce what his revenge tour could look like, man. A Justin Herbert with a proper coach, a Justin Herbert with proper weapons and proper blocking. Just imagine, man. Just imagine what next season could look like. Well, Chargers fans around the world, fans on Bleacher Report, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. We got a lot to cover in the coming weeks. Thank you to Bleacher Report for having me on. We're super lucky we got to break the news here. Excited to see what the future holds. Thank you, everybody, so much. We'll catch you later. Bolt up, stay frosty. Brighter days are ahead, Chargers fans. Brighter days are ahead. Let's go.